Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually.
So Donald Trump granted an exclusive interview to Laura Ingraham on Fox News Channel, and they hit a lot of topics. But this is what I like about Laura Ingraham. She recognizes that man does not live by Republican, Democrat alone or politics alone. No, there's a lot of big stuff going on in our world that goes well beyond just legislation. And so she asked Donald Trump about his impression of that culturally and religiously offensive opening ceremonies in Paris for the Olympics. And Trump did not hold back.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was
Catholics and Christians across the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand.
Yeah.
You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
So, by the way, for those of you who don't know, 4 years from now, the Olympics will be here in the United States of America. It's going to be in Los Angeles. It's 4 years from right now. So whoever the next president is, they will be the presiding head of state for the United States when we welcome the world to Gavin Newsom's California. So there may very well be some influence on what kind of content and how we best present ourselves, our nation, and our culture to the rest of the world. So I think it's significant, actually. And then Kamala Harris should be asked the same question. Are you okay with what happened there at the Olympics? Do you have an opinion about that? I'd love to hear, because, see, she can't help but offend someone with her answer. Donald Trump, of course, doesn't mind standing on the side of Christians who actually take things like the Lord's Supper rather seriously, if not sacred. Let's see where Kamala Harris stands on it. Along the lines of discussions of faith and equating what people's foundational moral compass tells them based on their Judeo-Christian beliefs, Donald Trump went on to discuss where we are as a nation right now and as a people and how it might affect this upcoming election.
They're also attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that. I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. I mean, this was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined, because nobody's ever been treated so badly by this. This administration is destroying Israel, et cetera, et cetera. So with respect to like a statement like I made, that statement is very simple. I said, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. It's true, because we have to get the vote out. Christians are not known as a big voting group. They don't vote. And I'm explaining that to them. You never vote. This time, vote. I'll straighten out the country. You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back to not
you don't have to vote.
And by the way, I just want to jump in here, because this is this clip. I'm sure you've seen it go viral, where Trump was at a Turning Point conference and he said, as you just heard him say, Christians, just come on out, please vote this November. Then you don't have to worry about it again. Nobody took that other than sort of the flip, joking remark that Trump was making, except for either absolutely brain dead extremists on the left. He said, look, he's admitting he's a fascist. He's admitting he's an authoritarian. He's admitting that there won't be any elections. I saw people who consider themselves legitimate intellectuals and journalists, of course, making that claim. Here he is saying it out loud. Everyone should listen to him. He's telling you we're going to end all elections, which of course is not what he said at all. He said you won't have to worry about voting because the next term is going to be so successful that we're going to reset all of the problems that you've seen this country go into for the last 50 or 60 years. Nobody believes that. The only people who believe it are brain dead, as I said, left-wing journalists, or people who absolutely know better and are just trying to lie and manipulate you. They're gaslighting you, they're manipulating you, they're lying to you. They're trying to make people terrified and outraged. It's not working. It hasn't worked at all. Why we have to even waste time on this, I don't know. But here we are. And so, yes, here's Donald Trump explaining, no, if anyone was wondering, I didn't mean that I'm going to end all elections. You know how I know Donald Trump isn't going to end all elections? Because Donald Trump can't end all elections. It's impossible. All right. Back to Trump.
For you, because you have 4 years in office.
Look,
Is that
Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But
They don't
just to
vote.
be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear
No,
by the left as well. They're never going to have another election. He's saying there's not. So
First time I've even heard.
can you
No.
even just respond to that?
I said Christians. I started off by saying, just so you understand, you never vote. Christians do not vote well. They vote in very small percentages. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're disappointed in things that are happening, but for a long time, I say, you don't vote. I'm saying, go out. You must vote. November 5th is going to be the most important election in the history of our country. Whether you vote early or not, we should have, by the way, one-day voting. We should have voter ID. We should have proof of citizenship, and we should have paper ballots, okay? That's what we should
Totally.
have, but we don't have that. But I said to the Christians in the room, thousands of them, I said, typically Christians do not vote. Why it is, I don't know. You're rebellious. Something's going on. Don't worry about the future. You have to vote on November 5th. After that, you don't have to worry about voting anymore. I don't care, because we're going to fix it. The country will be fixed, and we won't even need your vote anymore, because frankly, we will have such love. If you don't want to vote anymore, that's okay. And I think everybody understood it. I didn't know there was any.
Yeah,
well, everybody did understand it, unless you're a left-wing moron or you're a manipulative liar. But now it's cleared up. Everybody happy now? And by the way, for those of us who are conservative, who are Republicans, who have voted for Trump and support Trump for the presidency, many of us often, frankly, get frustrated by what you just saw there. Which is, again, sort of unforced error. I understand the point you're making, but you didn't have to make it in the way that you made it, because those of us who communicate publicly for a living, and politicians are people that communicate publicly for a living, they have to recognize, fairly or not, that if the words that they say are often twisted and misconstrued, then you be extra careful with the words that you use. Most of us are like that. Now, Donald Trump, he doesn't really give it. He really doesn't. And I get that. And that's what a lot of people love about him, that he just goes up there and he doesn't have any more to give. I get that. Good. However, you then end up spending time in interviews and spending a whole news cycle of stupid social media outrage, reacting to stuff that is a waste of time. But that's the issue when you're supporting Donald Trump. You get the good and you get the challenging sometimes. And this is one of those things that was challenging, not necessary. This whole idea of, well, you guys don't usually vote, but you need to vote, and just vote this time and you won't have to vote again. Inartful, let's say, but obviously not the call for authoritarianism that the left lied to everyone about. All right, now he focuses attention on Kamala Harris, and he's got many attacks and many challenges on the woman who would be president.
She was a bad prosecutor in San Francisco. She led the cashless bail and all of the different things. She was the first of all of the bad prosecutors that have allowed. If you look at the 25 top cities, they're basically all Democrat. The prosecutors are weak. She was she destroyed. She's a San Francisco liberal.
They're pushing for debates with you.
Yeah.
It went down in flames for them last time, but they think this is they're going to get you. So you've been kind of a little unclear about whether you're going to debate or not. Will you commit tonight to debating?
So I like
real fast. And again, I like Laura Ingraham, but I as a person who interviews and presents information and topics to y'all every day like this, live without a script, I hate when we buy into the left's narratives, when we use their language. Like the whole, Biden is trying to destroy the Supreme Court. He is trying to completely upend the Supreme Court of the United States, and even conservative media personalities are saying, well, we got to look at these Biden Supreme Court reforms. They're not reforms. Nothing about them are reforms. Are you kidding me? He's trying to take over the Supreme Court. And this is one of them too. Donald Trump has not been, hemming and hawing about whether he wants to debate Kamala Harris. Donald Trump and the Trump campaign has not been hedging and waffling about whether they're going to debate. They've been very clear. We never agreed to debate Kamala Harris. We had lengthy negotiations and reached an agreement to debate Joe Biden. Now, just because Joe Biden is physically and mentally incapable of making good on that agreement that we had, or because he's been pushed out of the way by an unelected Barack Obama and a silent coup within his own administration, and now Kamala Harris has been placed there as the new nominee by a very small handful of rich and powerful people who want to be her puppet master, that doesn't mean that we automatically have to debate her under the same terms that we negotiated with a completely different person. That's what they've been saying. It's not, oh, maybe we'll debate, maybe we won't. No. And they didn't back out of a debate. As soon as Joe Biden stepped off of the ticket, the debate was canceled. There are no debates. It was a Trump-Biden debate. Now, if Kamala Harris wants to come and work out a plan for a new debate, she's welcome to do that. But why does Laura Ingraham have to buy into this false narrative, a liberal narrative, a left-wing narrative, a Democrat narrative? I don't think that she agrees with them. I think that I think she didn't think it through, is all. All right, but let's get Trump's response. What about the debate?
I like debating. I've done a lot of debates, and I've won the debates. I think they say I won the election because of that. I don't mind. They were pushing for this early debate. I said, why do we want to do an early debate? It didn't make sense to me. It turned out I was right, but for the wrong reasons, right? I want to do a debate, but I also can say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
Then why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything. She wants to defund our police. She wants no bail. She wants no cash. You kill somebody and we're going to release you immediately. They call it cashless. That's it. By the way, this has been a horrible thing for our country.
Yeah. So as you can see, and we'll get to the debate question in a second, but as you can see, Trump is armed with all of the appropriate ways to go after Kamala Harris. And I want to be clear here, because what you're hearing from the media that is in the tank for her, and we'll show you even more examples of that throughout the program today, you're hearing that they're going after Kamala as a DEI hire, as a woman. They're making fun of her cackle. They're doing this, they're doing that. No, actually, every major criticism from the candidates and from the apparatus around the candidates has been laser pointed on exactly who this woman is, what she stands for, what she believes, what her policies have been, and what she's promised to do if she gets into office. This is a actually incredibly high-minded, thoughtful, policy-based attack on her, which is quite a contrast to what they're doing with Trump and J.D. Vance. But that's what you're seeing. Now, are there people on social media who are making fun of her laugh, including me? You betcha. But spoiler alert, we don't work for the Trump campaign. Are there things to make fun of with her because of her vacuous sentences, like what can be unburdened by what has been, that she repeats over and over again about 1,000 times in every speech? Of course. The fact that she loves Venn diagrams makes her one of the strangest human beings that you've ever met, because that's all she talks about, that and yellow school buses. And the fact that they had to hire child actors to pretend they like her when she talked to them about space. Of course, that's a target-rich environment. That's all part of the package, because frankly, I don't know about you, I don't want to spend 4 years with that moron in my living room every day representing me to the world. Do you? No. But from this guy, from their campaign, it's been incredibly focused on the disastrous policies. For people who always tell pollsters in America, voters are funny. Voters are always like, oh, I hate the two choices we have. Well, how'd we get the two choices? the voters are the ones who pick these two choices. The very people who vote for the two choices in the primaries are the same ones who will tell pollsters, "Oh, I wish we had that." And those voters will also tell pollsters whenever asked, "I wish we could have a serious debate of the issues. I wish there weren't any negative attacks or personal attacks or attacks about people's appearance or about their love lives and their marriages. No, I just want a high-minded discussion of the topics." But here's the thing. They ignore the actual discussion of the topics and the issues that are being brought forth by the campaigns. And they'll react to the negative. You know why people use negative campaign tactics? Because they work with the voters, the very same voters who say they hate them. So I want you to pay attention as Trump goes in here, because he is very specific about the disastrous policies from Kamala Harris. He doesn't even have to touch all of the odious things about her personality.
It's the constant refrain. I mean, he's after they have done all the things that we've talked about today,
Horrible.
all of the things.
Russia, all the things.
And dump their guy of 52 years, just dump him to the side. So they do all that, and then they say, well, no, you can't vote for him because he's literally never going to leave office. They're actually still saying that.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable.
But you will leave office after 4 years.
By the way, and I did last time, I kept hearing, he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. Look, they are the ones that are a threat to democracy. Number one, they had an incompetent man as president, okay? Now they have somebody who's worse. She's sort of incompetent. She's not very smart, but she's very radical. Very radical. She will try and defund the police. She's going to try and defund.
Is she more of an extremist than most
Bernie.
Americans today still understand?
Than Bernie. They say more than Bernie. More than Bernie Sanders.
He endorsed her.
Bernie Sanders is a major lunatic, okay? She's worse than Bernie Sanders. Now, she's trying to come back. She got rid of the laugh. I noticed I haven't seen that crazy laugh that she got. She's crazy. That laugh, that's the laugh of a crazy person. But I noticed that she's not using that laugh anymore. Somebody convinced her, don't laugh, just don't laugh. Don't laugh under any circumstances, because
I like laughter, but sometimes.
Not her laughter.
But she claims now she's tough. She's tough on crime.
All right. Maybe just one jab at the laugh. But come on. I mean, this is a man who won against Hillary Clinton, and the similarities are uncanny. All right. Finishing up, though, on the issues.
She was a tough prosecutor. Never the borders are.
She was a bad prosecutor. She was a prosecutor of black people. She put thousands and thousands of black people in jail over marijuana. But when it came to big crime, murders and everything else, she was weak. She would love to go after Trump. You know, she says, oh, Trump, 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 I did nothing wrong. They did a lot wrong, but I did nothing wrong. This was a totally manufactured deal. This was an attack on a political opponent. And she was involved in that with Biden. And so far, it's backfired, because people know this was an attack on a political opponent.
Yeah, all the legal lawfare attacks on Donald Trump absolutely have backfired. That's obvious, and that's clear. One other thing about her record in California, they're very smart and right to label her a San Francisco, California liberal Democrat, because that's what she is. And for the first time in our history, over 170 years since California has been in the United States of America, more people are leaving the Golden State than entering the Golden State because of the policies of Jerry Brown, Kamala Harris, and Gavin Newsom. That's the trifecta there that have ruined the state. And the most important, significant law that changed that state for the worse and must be reversed was a state proposition that was presented to the people of California as criminal justice reform. It had a lot in it. It included the cashless bail that you just heard Donald Trump lay out there. It had sentencing and prison reform. And one of those things was to change thefts, including shoplifting, where the value of the goods stolen were up to, I believe it was $950, that crime would be a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Have you seen those videos where people walk into stores and clear out the shelves and nobody does anything in California? It's because of that law. And the police know, the prosecutors know about this law, and prosecutors have pretty full plates. I mean, I'm talking about the prosecutors who actually want to put the bad guys away. You know, George Gascon down in Los Angeles County, he actually wants bad guys walking the streets. But real, earnest prosecutors who want to do their jobs as district attorneys and prosecute the bad guys. They know that they've got a very, very full plate and they can only allocate their budget certain ways. And if they arrest somebody for stealing $900 from a CVS, and that's just going to be a misdemeanor, and you go through all the work to get them prosecuted and they end up getting a suspended sentence, well, that's not great return on investment for the money that you're spending. So you end up not prosecuting those crimes. And when the police know that the prosecutors will not be prosecuting those crimes, the police tend to not arrest for those crimes. And if the police don't arrest for those crimes, then the store owners end up not calling the police when they're victims of those crimes. That's what's happened in California. And who wrote that? Who was the architect for that? Who was the brainchild behind that? California Attorney General Kamala Harris. And she will do to this country what she did to California. Make no mistake. One other part of this interview, which I thought was fantastic, was turning to the former First Lady, Donald Trump's wife, Melania, and her reaction to the nightmare that's gone on over the last several weeks, and frankly, for the last couple of years, with the use of the legal system against Donald Trump, and then the nightmare of an assassin's bullet. Let's take a look.
What was Melania's reaction, if you don't mind my asking? I know this is very personal, when she learned about what happened on that field in Butler?
She was watching.
Oh, she was watching in real time?
She was watching live. It was all over the place. It was on television. It's on your network, but it was all over the place. And she was watching. I asked her that. I mean, I wasn't there. I was on the ground. And when the world started to, like, you could talk to people, I said, so what was your feeling? And she was, she can't really even talk about it.
Traumatized.
Which is okay, because that means she likes me.
She
loves me.
That's good.
I mean, let's say she could talk about it freely. That wouldn't be, I'm not so sure which is better. But she either likes or loves me, and that's nice. But I will say this, look, she was, when I went down, she thought the worst had happened, because I went down. And I grabbed my, and I saw it was, my hand was loaded up with blood. You see it in slow motion, instant replay. You know, we had hundreds of press there. So this was covered live. They would have had instant replay and everything else, which they already do in this. But supposing the worst happened, you know, one man, Corey, was killed, hit horribly,
amazing man,
horribly in the head. And, you know, to guard it, he was guarding his family.
That's why how important it is to get to the bottom of why this was allowed to occur. I mean, he died.
Yeah, we do need to get to the bottom. But by the way, just to give you a preview, and I promised you that even though the mainstream media is trying to ignore this and memory hole it, and big tech is trying to keep you from even searching for information about the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, which now they've artificially reversed, and now it's like, what are you talking about? You can totally search the information. Yeah, nice try, guys. I just want you to know that as we speak, there is a joint hearing going on in the Senate, and they've got testimony from the FBI, I think deputy director, and the person now running the Secret Service. They're talking about the assassination attempt. Really good questioning so far coming from lawmakers, and we're going to give you a big rundown of all of that tomorrow. But what we're not going to have is the Secret Service director sitting there saying, I don't know, that question's for the FBI. You'll have to talk to them. And then you wait 3 days, and then you get the FBI director in there, and they say, I don't know, that's a question for the Secret Service. You have to talk to them. No, they're sitting side by side. So none of that crap. That's going on right now, and we're going to continue to pursue that story too. But that was yesterday. That was, that's vintage Donald Trump right there. And it looks like he's ready and loaded for bear for Kamala Harris with a full-on, all-out attack on her policies and what she would do to this country. And we're ready for it.